Mastering the Art of Silent Strength, How to Use Silence as Your Superpower. Have you ever heard the saying, "It's better to stumble with your feet than with your words"? Imagine a world where your silence speaks louder than any argument could, where your calmness overwhelms the chaos around you. Today, we're going to explore the art of silence, a powerful yet often overlooked tool in our noisy, fast-paced world. Think about the last time you were overwhelmed by gossip, unjustly criticized, or insulted without cause. How did it feel? Frustrating, right? Now, picture handling that moment with such calmness that you emerge stronger, more dignified, and at peace. This isn't about simply staying quiet. It's about using silence strategically, turning it into a tool for personal growth, resilience, and inner peace. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism teaches us that sometimes the most impactful thing you can do is not to react, to let your silence speak for you. It's about being so grounded in your self-worth and values that no external storm can shake your peace. So, if you're tired of constantly reacting, regretting, and getting caught in a cycle of conflict, stay with me. We'll explore how silence can become your strength, how to remain poised amid life's turbulence, and why sometimes saying nothing at all says everything. 9 key moments when silence is power. Know when to stay quiet. Stoic wisdom. 1. Silence amid gossip. Imagine someone spreads a rumor about you. It's like wildfire, racing through conversations, being shared in texts, or whispered in hallways. You might feel that powerful urge to jump in and set the record straight. But what if instead of reacting, you chose silence? Stoicism teaches us that engaging with gossip only gives it more energy. By remaining silent, you're not feeding the fire, you're letting the falsehoods burn out on their own. It's tough, no doubt, but consider the value of your peace over the fleeting satisfaction of correcting a rumor. Stoicism isn't about passivity, it's about strategic silence. By choosing to hold your tongue, you rise above the drama. The people who matter, the ones who know your truth, won't be swayed by rumors. And those who believe the gossip, well, they're not your concern. Focus on what truly defines you, your actions, character, and integrity. So, the next time you're tempted to correct every false word, pause, take a deep breath, and embrace your inner strength. In that silence, you're not just avoiding negativity, you're rising above it. 2. Responding to insults with Stoic wisdom. We all know the sting of a sharp insult. Whether it's a comment meant to hurt, a sarcastic remark, or an online jab, insults can leave a mark. But here's the thing. When someone insults you, it often reveals more about them than it does about you. Their words speak to their own insecurities, frustrations, or moments of weakness. Stoicism teaches us to view insults through a lens of wisdom. Instead of letting their venom pierce your heart, recognize that the only opinion that truly matters is your own. You have the power to define yourself. When someone insults you, you can either retaliate, letting their words infect your peace, or you can stand firm, knowing who you are and what you stand for. This isn't about ignoring your emotions or suppressing your hurt. It's about acknowledging your feelings and then choosing not to let them control your response. Sometimes the best response is simply silence, a calm, quiet statement that says, "Your words don't define me." Stoicism doesn't mean you should tolerate abuse or remain silent in the face of injustice. It means you take control of what you can, your reactions, your dignity, your inner peace. You can't control what others say, but you can control how you let their words affect you. By navigating insults with Stoic wisdom, you don't just protect your peace, you elevate your character. 3. Embracing silence in chaos. When life gets noisy, chaotic, or overwhelming, it's easy to feel pulled in all directions. But in these moments, silence becomes a refuge. Whether you're dealing with external chaos or inner turmoil, finding moments of stillness can be a powerful act of self-care. Silence doesn't just mean doing nothing. It's a conscious decision to stop reacting and start reflecting. In a world that constantly demands more from us, silence is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it's a profound strength. By choosing silence, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're giving yourself the space to think clearly, to act with intention, and to maintain control over your emotions. When you embrace silence in moments of chaos, you're practicing the art of inner peace. You're allowing yourself to stay grounded no matter how turbulent the world around you becomes. It's a reminder that you have the power to choose how you respond, and that sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful thing you can do. Fear, anger, a fire to master, not fear. Anger in itself isn't the enemy. It's a natural emotional reaction to feeling wronged or witnessing injustice. The real challenge, and where Stoicism becomes a guiding light, is not in feeling anger, but in how we choose to respond to it. Picture anger like a wildfire. Left to rage freely, it destroys. But with discipline and composure, much like a Stoic approach, that same fire can be redirected to bring clarity and warmth. Controlled, it illuminates. Unchecked, it devours. So where do we begin? With a pause. It sounds simple, but that pause is powerful. It creates a space between the trigger and your reaction. In that gap, you reclaim your power to choose your response rather than letting the emotion take the lead. In that moment, ask yourself, what's really behind this anger? Often, it's not just the situation itself. It's the feeling of being hurt, threatened, or misunderstood. Stoicism teaches us to investigate our emotions, not to ignore them. When we understand their roots, we can address the deeper issue with wisdom. But it doesn't stop there. Stoicism also encourages us to question our perceptions. Is your anger based on reality or a misjudgment? Are you certain you interpreted the situation correctly? By challenging your initial assumptions, you often discover the emotion was based on distorted thinking or misplaced expectations. Now, what if your anger is justified? The Stoics don't suggest you bury it. Instead, they offer a powerful concept: productive anger. Controlled, intentional anger can fuel action, drive justice, and inspire change. But it must be governed by reason, not emotion. As Seneca said, unchecked anger is a brief insanity. Even when anger is valid, we must not let it override our judgment. To live by Stoic principles is not to be emotionless, it's to be emotionally wise. By learning to respond with integrity, reason, and self-control, we protect both ourselves and those around us, cultivating inner strength and lasting peace. 5. Unfair criticism, the power of detachment. When someone criticizes you unfairly, your first instinct might be to strike back, defend yourself, or feel wounded. Stoicism, however, invites you to pause, breathe, and respond with clarity, not impulse. That initial moment is crucial. It's not about bottling your feelings. It's about giving yourself the space to respond intentionally rather than reactively. So here's a question worth asking. Does this criticism define who I am? According to Stoic philosophy, Your worth is not tied to anyone's opinion. Your identity, integrity, and virtue are yours alone. They're internal, not something to be granted or revoked by others. Next, examine the source. Ask, why is this person saying this? Unjust criticism often says more about the speaker than the subject. It may reflect their own insecurities, projections, or misunderstandings. By viewing criticism through this lens, it loses its sting. However, Stoicism also teaches humility. Even when the delivery is harsh, ask, is there a lesson here? If there's truth buried in the unfairness, use it to improve. Growth isn't always comfortable, but it's always valuable. Above all, protect your peace. Don't let your emotional well-being be tossed around by the winds of other people's opinions. Stoics remind us, praise and blame are both fleeting. Stay centered in who you are. 6. Loss, a gateway to strength. Loss is part of life, whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or a shift in identity. It shakes us, it hurts. But Stoicism doesn't tell us to numb the pain, it helps us face it with strength. This philosophy doesn't ask you to hide your grief. Instead, it gives you a framework to feel fully while still standing strong. You can acknowledge your pain, even cry, while still honoring your values and composure. Loss may feel like the ground beneath your feet has disappeared. In that moment, Stoicism says, pause, breathe, feel, and remember that emotions are responses, not commands. You can feel devastated without letting that pain dictate the rest of your life. And then, slowly, a shift happens. You begin to ask, what can I learn from this? How has this shaped me? Even in heartbreak, there lies potential. Loss carries within it the seeds of rebirth, new strength, deeper wisdom, unexpected paths. This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about recognizing that pain and progress often grow from the same soil. 7. Impermanence, letting go with wisdom. Loss is not a flaw in life's design. It is an essential part of it. Everything and everyone we hold dear is only with us temporarily, as if borrowed for a time. When we internalize this Stoic truth, we learn not only to treasure what we have while it's here, but also to release it gracefully when the moment calls for it. Recognizing life's impermanence encourages deeper appreciation. It shifts our perspective from clinging to cherishing, from fearing loss to honoring the present. And when loss eventually arrives, as it always will, Stoicism reminds us not to isolate ourselves. Grief is not a burden to carry alone. Leaning into our community, allowing ourselves to be supported, and offering support to others in return is not weakness. It's courage in its most human form. Being Stoic doesn't mean being solitary. It means being strong enough to be vulnerable and wise enough to seek connection when we need it most. Through Stoicism, we don't minimize our pain or pretend we are unaffected. Instead, we learn to hold grief with dignity and patience, trusting that peace will return. Loss may shape us, but it doesn't have to define us. We can emerge from sorrow with greater strength, deeper insight, and a renewed appreciation for life. 8. Facing injustice, responding with courage and clarity. When confronted with injustice, it's normal to feel a surge of anger, helplessness, or despair. But Stoicism teaches us to take a step back to observe, reflect, and respond from a place of clarity rather than chaos. This doesn't mean being indifferent, quite the opposite. A Stoic response is deeply rooted in justice. It simply resists impulsive reactions in favor of meaningful action. When something unfair happens to us or around us, the Stoic first asks, "What is within my power to change?" We may not be able to fix everything, but we always have control over how we act, how we speak, and what principles guide us forward. Justice for the Stoic is not loud or reckless. It is steady and intentional. Whether it's through supporting a cause, offering help to someone affected, or challenging broken systems, our responses should be guided by purpose, not rage. Injustice can be so crushing, but your inner fortress, your Stoic center, remains unshaken. You can stand in the storm without letting it uproot your peace or values. And when it feels overwhelming, remember, you're not alone. We're part of a shared human fabric. Standing together, sharing our voices and strength, we're more resilient. By approaching injustice through the Stoic lens, we act not with bitterness, but with boldness and integrity. Every small act of justice, rooted in principle, ripples outward. 9. Ignorance. Navigating it with Stoic poise. Encountering ignorance, whether in conversation, online, or in society, can stir frustration. It's tempting to react with sarcasm, correction, or judgment. But the Stoic path invites a different approach, one of patience, clarity, and even compassion. When someone speaks from a place of misunderstanding, the first Stoic move is to listen. Not to agree, but to understand. What fears or experiences might be behind their view? What might they be missing? Then comes the inner question: is this a moment to teach or to learn? Sometimes offering knowledge with gentleness and without expectation is the wisest move. Other times, asking thoughtful questions may help both sides see more clearly. And sometimes, walking away with grace is the most powerful thing you can do. But what about ignorance that causes real harm? Stoicism doesn't call for silence in the face of danger. It calls for composure. Speak out, take a stand, correct falsehoods. Just don't let rage or ego guide you. Lead with reason and purpose instead. And don't forget, ignorance isn't always external. What exists within us too. Stoicism encourages us to stay humble, to always be open to growth, and to constantly examine our own assumptions. The journey toward wisdom is never complete, and that's what keeps it meaningful. Throughout our journey today, one theme stands strong. Silence is not emptiness. It is strength. It is clarity. It is the voice of someone who has nothing to prove because their life, their choices, and their values speak for them. The Stoic path teaches us that in the face of boasting, rumors, or injustice, we can choose stillness over noise, reflection over reaction. It teaches us to value inner peace above external approval and to lead with integrity, not impulse. If today's message resonated with you, take the next step. Explore more lessons in Stoic thought and personal growth by watching one of the suggested videos on your screen. Let's continue walking this path of wisdom, purpose, and unshakable calm together. Thank you for being here, for growing with us, and for strengthening our Stoic Strength community. Through reflection and resilience, we rise above life's storms stronger, wiser, and more at peace.